Franlin, the accidental author, and very happy to be sitting here with the wonderful Hannah Franklin, who is a new author, and she's written a book called 30 by 30, and recently has had that joyful experience of unwrapping a box and holding that book in her hand. So hello, Hannah.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It has been a fun journey. It's been a long journey, as you know, but to be able to hold my book in my hand is just, so exciting. That's something, it's been years in the making. So I'm excited about that.
It has been years, hasn't it? How many years? I mean, when did the idea come to you?
Yeah, so I started thinking about this idea back in 2013 when I was invited to 7 weddings that year.
Wow.
And yeah, which was just crazy. And so I started making this arbitrary goal to be invited to 30 weddings by the time I turned 30 years old. So as I got each wedding invitation, I'd get so excited. I started taking notes about the weddings. And during that time, I was also trying to figure out, I was going through a different transition with life and figuring out jobs, and wanted to transition into the hospitality and event industry. And so during the time as I was writing the book and getting the invitations, I became an event manager and wedding planner. And so that was something, it was just a fun way to kind of take my personal life and things that I enjoy of, my friends and family getting married, and then turn it into this book, because there were just so many really great stories that I just felt like this has to be told. Every wedding has its own, unique twist on it, and something always goes wrong, or there's that crazy bride, or, something happens. And so going to so many different weddings, I just felt like I've got to share this story. So it just was a fun, side project for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you did hit 30 weddings before you were 30? Or
Yes.
yeah.
I did. I was invited. The goal was to be invited. There was a couple weddings that I wasn't able to actually attend, but I was invited to over 30 weddings before I turned 30 years old. And so, which, even if you don't attend, you still have to buy a gift. So that's all my friends owe me.
Really? Wow, that's a different culture in America than it is here. If I'm not going to a wedding, they're not getting a gift.
Oh, yeah.
So I have the question that I'm sure people are asking me. How do you said after you had those 7 weddings in one year, your goal was to get invited to 30 weddings by 30. How do you get yourself invited? Do you just make friends with people? You find someone that's about to get married and you get really friendly with them? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I feel like a lot of people have asked, like, how do you have that many friends, and how were you close to that many people? I had a lot of friends around the, wedding age, right after college. And so many of them got married, after college. And then I also was working for a church at the time. And so working for a church, I, knew everybody. And then many of the times the pastor was doing the wedding, and then I was invited, or I helped in some capacity of the wedding. But it was between, just friends and family all getting married. And so it even got to a point when I was in grad school, it just kind of happened. And people, then I talked about it, so people knew that this was something. But so when I was in grad school, I had a friend that I met from Saudi Arabia, and she knew I was writing this book, and she invited me to her niece's wedding in Saudi Arabia. And so I got to fly over, which is just incredible. So I talk about that story in the book, of just seeing a wedding from another culture, which was just crazy.
It's a powerful lesson, Hannah, in intention and focus, isn't it? Because when you set your intention to do something, it's amazing how the universe or God, whatever you believe, conspires to actually make that happen. And so there's a really powerful lesson, even though there's fun and frivolity and wedding and stuff. But I think the actual intention for you to go, I'm going to be invited to 30 weddings by the age of 30, and it happened, and largely because you set that intention. And I think there's real power in that for anyone watching this.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with weddings. It's got nothing to do with writing books. It's got everything to do with focusing. So
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I think that, yeah, so true. And when you write the goal down, and like I said, I then kept track of them all. And so I knew where I was at. So it literally was a life goal for me. We all have our bucket list or little goals. And so I've got some crazy ones. And so the 30 weddings before 30 was one of those
Are
crazy
you going
ones.
for 60 by 60?
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. I'm over the weddings, weddings are a lot. But
what
no,
about your own? You haven't been to your own yet, have you?
No.
No. Well,
No, son.
you'll have to go to that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I want to get married. We'll see where life takes
Really, you've
me.
been to so many weddings, you just think, I don't want to get married anymore.
Yeah. Just kind of done, life is good. I don't know if I need to go through the hoopla. They're stressful, and I talk about that in the book of just how stressful weddings can be. And unfortunately, they bring out the worst in people, and it doesn't need to be that way.
So tell me, sorry, Hannah. So the book, so your idea of the book was, yes, to tell some fun stories and talk about the crazy brides, and I'm sure there's pretty crazy in-laws and the weird guests, right, and the unique settings and all sorts of things that went well and went wrong and all that sort of stuff. So I can see already it's going to be a really interesting reading for anyone that's into that sort of stuff. I know they'll love it. But what was your main purpose to write the book, Hannah? Was it entertainment value, or is it actually to help people plan a stress-free, happy, beautiful wedding?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of both. I feel like it's a lighthearted read, it's an easy read, and really just to take the stress away from those brides who are planning their weddings. So each chapter has just kind of lessons at the end, and then places for you to take notes. And my goal, really was obviously to share the fun stories and any of the disastrous stories to make sure that doesn't happen to you as you're planning, but also to keep in mind there's a theme that runs throughout the book of keeping things in perspective. If at the end of the day, you're marrying your best friend and the love of your life, then it's a good day. It doesn't matter what else happens throughout the day, but if you end up married to your best friend, that's success. Who cares what else happened? And so I really try and keep that perspective of during the planning process, are you checking in with your fiance? Like, are you guys on the same page? Are you communicating? Are you still falling in love with that person? Or is this now become this stressful task and you're throwing this huge party for your family and friends and you're not excited about it and you don't even know who's standing beside you anymore?
Yep.
So really keeping that in perspective. And I feel like that's a different perspective than a lot of other wedding books or wedding planning books that are very detailed of every single thing that you need to do in the checklists and this and that, and don't forget this, and what about this person? And weddings can just snowball so quickly. And so I really wanted to bring that perspective of like, hold up, let's have some fun. Let's enjoy the process and know who you're marrying and be excited about the person standing next to you.
Yeah, and you've got great perspective because you've got that perspective of you've been an event wedding planner and you've been a guest. So you've got those two different organizational stuff, but you can also from the inside of a wedding, which is great. So I think the book's obviously going to be a wonderful book to read, and I know people are watching this will want to rush out and get it. But before we tell them how to get it, Hannah, just tell us a bit about the writing journey for you, because I know there's a lot of people wanting to write books or written books. Tell us a bit about the journey. Tell us a bit about, what that was like and then what it felt for you when you actually got that book in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I'm going to be honest, a long, hard journey. I had the ups and downs. I think I got started with you, I think it was in 2013 when I had this idea, and you have your one word at a time program. And so I signed up online and started going through that. And it just it made sense of like just getting into that daily habit of writing. It doesn't have, and I loved your statement of like, it doesn't have to be good. You don't have to be a good writer. You just have to write. And as time went by, it's like, okay, it's coming together and you make it happen. And my project, it took me years to write. But I had a lot of it written, I feel like early on. And then there was different things that came up, and everyone's busy. We all, have our different priorities. And so I feel like there were different seasons in my life where writing and getting this book published was the top priority. And then other times where it kind of took the back burner. And while, if I could change things, I wouldn't want to do it that way again, but that's life. That's just kind of how it happened. And so I enjoyed the writing process. I feel like that was something fun for me, to actually be writing and sharing these stories. And the story piece was easy. But then you also have to have for me, wanting some of the rich context and the lessons and some of those things. So that's, it's easy to just tell a story, but having it all come together as one. And then once I had the manuscript done and I had it assessed, and then you send it off to publishers. And that to me was the hardest part, because you get a lot of the rejections. It takes time, and you have to be just so dedicated and know that your project and your book and your manuscript is worth it, and just keep going even after rejection, and know that like you want this done. I think we had talked many times that I kind of was like, yeah, I think maybe I'll just shelve this project. Like, it's just not going to happen. And you always were so encouraging and like, no, like this is something that you wanted to get done. It's a great idea. The right publisher is out there. And so it's definitely taking the time and knowing that you've got to work at it. And I think keeping that perspective. So there were times in my life that I did have to shelve it for a little bit because I wasn't in the right mindset to put in that work to make it happen. And then there would be a shift, and it's like, no, I want this project done. I want to hold my book in my hand. I've worked too hard not to. And so I did. I just continued to press on. And then I found a great publisher that worked. It was a good fit for my project. That's, we worked through the editing process and everything that goes into getting a finalized book. And here I am years later with the book in my hand, and it just is phenomenal. I mean, that feeling of I wrote this. This is something I did, and no one can take that away from me. Like, I am a published author. And so I think that's something that's just so exciting. And I had great support between you and my friends and my family, and just people who were really excited about that book. I've been talking about it for years. And so that was the other thing I thought, if I don't do this, I'm not just letting myself down, I'm letting all these other people down who are excited to read it. And I feel like since I announced, and it was published, I've had a lot of great feedback from friends and family, really excited about the book, and weddings I've attended that they then want to read their story in the book. They'll go to a specific chapter that they know may be part of their wedding and want to read it. And so that's just been really neat to get then other people's feedback and what they think of the stories and the book. So it's a phenomenal project, process. I would definitely, if you're thinking about writing a book, do it. What's standing in your way, and just write. Just have that habit of just writing. Doesn't have to be good. It'll get there. And so yeah, you have been phenomenal, Andrew, of just really helping me get to this stage.
Oh, thank you for that, Hannah, and thank you for sharing that. But the people around you can only support you so much. You've got to make the decision, and it's got to be that focus, that determination to get the job done. And you've had that. I've known all along, as we've been talking, I've gone, no, she'll get it done. It may take a little while, but I know she'll get it done, because you just had that look in your eye. So congratulations. It's wonderful. Very proud of you. And I know, as much as I love to, be a part of the journey, it's your success. That's your achievement. So congratulations. So now, Hannah, people who would like to purchase this book, how do they do that?
Yeah, would love for you to purchase the book. So it is available on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, and you can also get it on iTunes or any ebook reader, Kindle, things like that. And I have my website at hannahbfranklin.com that also has the link to be able to purchase the book from one of those retailers. So would love for you to purchase it. Would love to then hear from you and what you think. But yeah, 30 by 30, how to plan the perfect wedding.
Wonderful. Hannah, congratulations. I know it'll do well, and what you've done is wonderful, and I know it will be an incredible success. So congratulations and well done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Cool. So everyone watching this, get out there and purchase a copy of 30 by 30. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.